It's a great episode of Short Takes here with you with Jamie Sego. Jamie is part of the duo Sister Ray Davies out of Florence and Muscle Shoals area in Alabama. Jamie also engineers and produces music out of Portside Sound in the same town. What you'll hear is a very thoughtful and graceful guy with Jamie. He knows his stuff as well. He has an encyclopedic knowledge of music and recording equipment, which he can easily get into. But here we get into our gut feelings, community issues, and fatherhood. This conversation will make you reflect, I think. If you want more from what we mentioned in this episode, you want to go to Instagram.com/Sister Ray Davies for his music in the duo. And then you can also head to Instagram.com/Portside Sound to see his work as an engineer and music producer. The two accounts are also on Threads and other social media accounts, but Instagram seems to be a good starting point. We mentioned the legendary Sonic Cathedral here, which is a record label out of the UK and where Sister Ray Davies landed for their first album, Holy Island. You can buy Holy Island and a remixed EP to accompany it by visiting Sister Ray Davies on Bandcamp or looking up Sonic Cathedral on Bandcamp, or head to their Instagram. You can find the links there too. Without further ado, let's get into my in-depth conversation with Jamie Sego of Sister Ray Davies.
Alabama Tape Projection.
Hello, people who are joining us. This is Jamie Sego with me. He's from Sister Ray Davies. And if you're in the UK and watching this, I bet you know them. Good chance, right, Jamie?
I hope so. If not,
got a little kick over there, right?
I think so. I think so.
I think you guys are going to be real humble about it. You and Adam both are. It's the duo Sister Ray Davies out of Florence and Muscle Shoals area. If you know Muscle Shoals area, then you're in the right spot. And these two guys are making music that has gotten a big kick in the UK. Adam recently came off a tour over there with, I think he had Todd Bean filling in for you. Am I right?
That's correct.
But the great news is you guys are soon going to be picking up the guitars again, and you will be with Adam as Sister Ray Davies with, I think in the fall mainly. It's going to be with Luna.
With Luna.
Opening
That's
for
right.
Luna. How excited
are
you?
Very excited. It is. That's one of Adam's longtime favorite bands. So it's really kind of wild that's who we're going to end up doing it with over here. That's a great one too. Don't tell Adam what?
Don't tell Adam, but I think I might have introduced him to Luna.
Oh, really?
He'll probably claim otherwise.
That's amazing.
He'll say it's vice versa. But I think I got into them, and it wasn't shortly after that I told him to listen to them. But it may not have been quite like that. He may be right.
That's really cool. I
can remember how I got into them, though. It was on a Bob Dylan message board, and someone recommended them to me.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that something?
Man, I love that. That's the kind of stuff that I'm really into. That's the kind of fostering of culture that I think we need more of.
Isn't that great? It was old school internet, old Dylan message board. It was not to get too deep into this because I want to concentrate on you and your music, but it was a message board designed around playing a game on which songs Dylan would play that evening.
Oh, cool!
Back when the set lists were up in the air and a little less dynamic these days. But when did you realize that Sister Ray Davies might be something a little bigger than what you had imagined?
We really just thought this was going to be just a fun thing to do, and maybe it would come out on Bandcamp. And at some point, once we had the whole thing together, we were like, well, we really enjoy this record, but we might as well just send it out to the universe and see, if anybody else enjoys it. And Adam sent it to Sonic Cathedral, the legendary label over there, and he started playing it on the SoundCloud spins just kind of kept going up, and Adam was like, he's listening to it over there, and then he emailed back, and we never expected something like that to be like, yeah, I want to put this out. That was pretty unexpected. So I was just thrilled with that, from the get-go, but it's just been kind of a new adventure.
It's really cool. I think it's fantastic too, the record and the fact that Sonic Cathedral got on board with it early.
Yeah.
In fact, a recent interview that you and Adam did said you had nearly 50 songs banked for another album.
Yeah, Adam is very prolific. He's always got something new he's working on. It's great stuff too. I think I don't want to speak out of turn on in this regard, but I think we'll probably have another full length and an EP at some point in the next year.
As in the next year, as in maybe a year from now, or next year?
Probably sometime next year. Sometime next year we'll contain both of those, and then I'm with 50 songs. I'm sure we'll have plenty of stuff to go ahead and just dive into the next one. So he's quite prolific.
You're going to have to do some editing or figuring out what songs work best when played back to back and things like that. That's a lot of fun, though.
It is a lot of fun. It's also interesting because the first one was kind of a concept record, and I don't think this one will be as much of a concept. Although we're always talking about concepts, but I don't think it'll be like such a strong like geographical concept kind of thing. So that whole process will be interesting this time.
I suppose there is a little difference between concept and thematic. It still could very well be a thematic album, though. Sounds. I
think there'll definitely be some themes for sure.
It's really cool. What would it look like for Sister Ray Davies to have another member? It's probably not in your mind.
We've talked about it. I think it would be cool to. I like the format now is good. Like it's a little different. It's easy to just put it all in a Prius and go play shows. So that's nice. But I think it would be great to have somebody doing almost like DJ dub type stuff on maybe a mixing board and effects. I think that would be really neat. I've talked to Adam about maybe getting Todd in on that kind of thing. Or it would be cool to do anything, to have a drummer, have a bass player too. I mean, I don't think there's any rules for how we do it.
Yeah. Only thing is, I suppose, is it's just one more schedule.
Yeah, so somebody else to schedule. But if it works out to do that, I'm sure we will be open to do that. And it might be something different as it progresses. If you want to make it a little different every record, it might be something that we explore.
Interesting. Of course, you run and engineer, do production work at the historic recording studio in Muscle Shoals area, Portside Sound. Tell me something a layperson does not realize about recording in a studio.
I guess, I don't know what people don't understand.
I think mine was mic placement. The first time I visited a studio I was very unaware of how nuanced mic placement can be.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, people probably underestimate the amount of things that go into with a microscope on kind of a million different fine detail things all at once, and then also trying to keep a big picture in mind. So it is a lot to be like the perfect audio engineer. I think you would ideally have like a PhD level knowledge of physics, psychology, music theory, history, electrical engineering. Like you could be a world expert on all that, in order to be an audio engineer.
You talk about the psychology. Maybe that's best left to the producer, but that that really might be something a layperson doesn't realize. I know for years I didn't. The difference between an engineer and a producer.
Oh yeah, I think in the old days, sometimes the producer would just be the person that handled the money, and then the engineers would be the putting the mics in the certain places and making sure the tape machine was running and making sure the levels were good. Those worlds have kind of dissolved a little bit. So you'll have producers that will do engineering and engineers that will offer production tips and stuff. So it's very fluid, but I do like the idea of division of labor, of having somebody that's like, well, I'm focused on sounds, I'm focused on making sure levels are happening, I'm focused on doing Pro Tools edits, and then you have somebody that is focused on performance, focused on song, making changes to a song, or what should we do? Should we do this right now, or should we move on to something else? It is good to divide that up, because it's a huge task to have all of those things happening at once and to be good at that.
Do you have a dream or an aspiration for Portside Sound?
Just to make some good records in there in the time. I feel very privileged to be in there. To the fact that studio space was open and we were able to rent it starting in 2016 is really something that is unlikely in any other city. That would have been way out of our price range if we were in LA, or it wouldn't have existed in some other city. So it is a real privilege to be able to lease a spot like that. Something crazy would have to happen for me to buy that building. So in the time that we are there, however long that may be, the goal is just to make as much good music as we can, and then hopefully the next person that inherits that building will take good care of it and they will make some good music.
To give people a concrete example of what you can do, you recently mixed a live album that's coming out from Lee Baines III. I think it's coming out at the very beginning of August, so not very far down the line. What were your thoughts about that and working on it?
I love Lee. His songs are great. He has such charisma. He has like a larger than life amount of personal energy, and his songs are so good. My brother-in-law would come in while I was mixing that, and I would play him whatever song I was working on, and he was like, wow, this is really good. I love being able to work on stuff like that. And I like live records too. There's so much in studio records that nowadays there's so much like fine tuning this and that, and separations. Everything is so separated, and you can manipulate it all so much. But live records to me are kind of the closest thing that we have now to the old records of like, well, we're all in a room and every mic has a little bit of drums and or guitar in it. It was all live in those. Up to a certain point, up until about the mid '60s, it was all live anyway. So like even the studio records were all live records in many ways. But it doesn't really make sense for most people to do it that way anymore in the studio. So it's kind of the only way you get to experience a little bit of that.
Yeah, it's a different beast.
It is, yeah. It's fun.
Live.
And it's great when the songs are good and the performance is good. I mean, he's to be such a good songwriter, and to have I think people don't realize how good of a singer he is. And there was times in that record where he would just clip the room mics with his voice only, and there's like nothing you could do about that. I mean, I don't know. I think some of the songs where he did that may not have made it because of that, but because there's just nothing you can do when he just completely clips. But he is such a powerful singer. Yeah, he's great. I like Lee a lot.
It'll be exciting to hear the full thing. Mm-hmm. Tell me where you and Adam instantly agree, and where is an area that you have to talk it through and hash it out.
We have a lot of the same music taste. I've kind of joked before that he and I tend to have almost the same music taste, except he'll always like a different version of the band that I like. Like he'll like this. It's like the same genre, but he'll be like, oh, I haven't listened to that one, but I have listened to this one. Like it's parallel universe kind of music taste. So it's pretty easy to deal with that kind of stuff. I don't think we really disagree. He's really easy to work with as far as like, there'll be times when I'll say, we need to get rid of, I think this part is just cluttering it up, or hey, why don't we change the song structure or something like that. And usually he's very, I can't even think of a time where he's like, let's not try that. He's usually very open about trying anything.
That's wonderful to work with then.
Yeah.
And I imagine you're the same. I can see you being very open to ideas.
Yeah, I like to just let it develop on its own, just kind of see where it's going to go. Usually it's more rewarding that way, is if you have like a very tight idea that you're just trying to chisel away at, that's a valid way to do it too. But a lot of times you'll never really get what you're after, versus rather just kind of treating it as like a living organism almost that's just going to grow into something interesting. That's usually you'll be happier at the end of the process, I think.
That you said it. It's never going to sound exactly what you think it should. Yeah, I agree with that. I would say compared to other people I know and have met, you have one of the more encyclopedic minds when it comes to music. Let me ask you this based off that. Who's your favorite Alabama artist or band right now?
I'm really interested in the I mean, there's a lot. I really like the Alabama Shakes are great. I love them. I'm glad that they're back doing stuff. I'm interested in what's going to happen with the new. There's some new Ray songs that are happening. I think the one just came out via Earth Libraries. I think. So I'm interested in to see if they have another record, because they're really cool.
For listeners, that's WRAY.
Yes.
When I hear it, I always think just RAY, but it's WRAY.
Yeah.
You're interested in hearing them, yeah.
I mean, I there's too many people up here in the Shoals for me to just, because I would have to just name all of them. But I'm interested in the new. I think Caleb Elliott has got got a new project he's working on. I can't think of the name of it right now, but everything that he does is great.
Have you ever had him in the studio recording?
Yeah, his second record. They were moving. The Single Lock studio was moving from one building to another at the time, and so they did about half of that record at our place.
Okay.
With Ben producing, and I just kind of popped in and out just as a fly on the wall. But that's really, I mean, that may be one of the best sounding records. I can say that because I didn't do anything didn't do anything on it, but that may be one of the best like sonically sounding records that's been done while we've had it.
That's cool. Before we get into our 4 questions, just a quick reminder that Sister Ray Davies will be opening for Luna. I think late September is the first show with Luna.
I think so. I can't. I don't have it committed to memory.
Through October, and I think I'm right on that. But you can visit Luna's website, and they have it listed correctly. You can buy your tickets. I know you guys are playing one show in Nashville. That's pretty close for our usual listeners, although we may have listeners elsewhere. That would be awesome if you listen to us from elsewhere. Check them out. They're going to be all the way up in Chicago with Luna. I know Nashville, and there are plenty of dates in between. Cleveland, I think, is one of them. Let's get into the 4 questions. Our show is based around 4 questions. We try to get something that maybe our guests haven't really answered. To be fair, I give them ahead of time because I think they require thought. Nobody wants to be asked these off the cuff and recorded as an answer. So, our first question for Jamie is, tell me about a time you had a strange gut feeling that no one else believed, but it was correct.
I couldn't think of a time when I've had a gut feeling that no one believed, but turned out to be correct. But I did have a weird. I was talking to Adam about this. I had a weird occurrence when I was in college. We took a tour of the Cypress Moon studio, and I remember just being kind of blown away that it was down there. I'd never heard. I didn't realize it was down there. You go down this road. It's like all these trees overhead. It's like, and you're down by the river, and you're like, man, I can't believe this was down here. And then I had a dream after that, like some weeks after that I was doing a session in there. And then if you fast forward like 6 years, I think it was right around 5 or 6 years later, we moved in down there. So that's a kind of weird synchronicity. But I don't think I've had one where I tried to convince anybody. I couldn't think of an example like that.
But that's a pretty good one. You always wonder where those come from.
Yeah.
When you have dreams or premonitions in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating stuff. Our second question, what's a good quote that resonates to you, or maybe you know it by heart and even say it? And if it's one you say aloud, you can even offer up a situation and you find yourself using it.
Well, okay, this is going to get real nerdy. This is not verbatim. I did look up the quote verbatim, but it's just too unwieldy to try to say verbatim. But there's a Brian Eno interview where he talks about using all manner of outboard gear, analog gear, and stuff to create what he calls it probabilistic conditions for the type of music he's making. And I think that resonates. I think about that quote all the time, just in various aspects of life. If you really are just kind of setting up the conditions for what you think would be interesting or what you might like to see, you're trying to set up the conditions, and then you're just rolling the dice and just kind of seeing what happens. And I think that's the way I approach working in the studio. Is like, I'll obsess over, what kind of mics do we have, on the shelf, or what are all the things that we have here available, and how are the processes work. And then, like I said earlier, it's once you kind of do all that, then just get in the flow state and just see what kind of comes out of that. I think that's rewarding. So that's kind of
probabilistic because he suspects
the
problem.
Probabilistic. I'm not really sure what he. Yeah, it's like probability.
That's even better.
I'm not sure exactly what he means by probabilistic, but I guess it's like a. I guess I kind of understand what he means by probabilistic, but it is a funny word. I don't know if I've ever heard that word in any other context.
Yeah, you try to set it up, and maybe there are problems, but you try to set it where something interesting happens. Yeah. Yeah,
I guess you're trying to influence the universe. I mean, he's doing it to create new types of music, but you could do it with anything. I mean, what kind of toys are you going to get for your kid, or how, or like what anything is like. You're just casting your intentions into the universe and just seeing kind of what returns.
Yes, I spend way too much time trying to control that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and being unhappy sometimes when it doesn't work, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Hey, you mentioned kids and toys. Here's our next question. You're a new father. I think it's okay if I mention that. What's something you've learned about being new to fatherhood that applies to everyone? Maybe fathers, non-fathers, moms, non-moms.
I think you get inundated. I spend too much time on social media, and you get it's kind of scary how quickly they figure out that you're a parent, and then you start getting inundated with ads and this kind of stuff. And so I think I saw through there, but the amount of how like your attention affects the development of your child is like seems to be very important as far as like their language skills. But if you kind of like extrapolate that, like your what you put your focus on is like very important. And we're in like the attention economy, so like there are all these like corporate entities and political entities that are harvesting your attention, and I think we don't think about that enough. Try to guard that, try to guard our attention when it comes to, because you only have so much of it. You only have so much life, so you have to be very mindful of where you're putting your focus.
That's true. Yes, still a lot of sleepless nights in the Sego house.
Yeah, he's eating every 3 hours, so it's.
I remember that time.
Yeah,
that's a rough one, but it's rough, but it doesn't last forever. So number 4, question for everyone who's our guest. We appreciate the time. We want to get something that's fun out of them as well. So what's done up real good for you?
I think just community. I know it may sound trite, but. We had some health complications with his birth, and the support that we had from friends and family was really meant a lot. And I know that I don't always reciprocate that as an introvert, and I think it is so important to make sure that we are being plugged in to our community and supporting one another.
Great answer, and it's also relevant because you guys with Sister Ray Davies found your community kind of online in a way, or via the internet, because it kind of landed in the UK for now. I think that's going to expand. They accepted you as part of their community in a way. It sounds to me as that's how it went. And
yeah.
In case listeners are wondering, Adam and I, your bandmate Adam and I, are pretty good friends. So I hear some stories. So it sounds like it went well in the UK, and it became a community with open arms there. And then you're also talking about a community that help you out in a very day-to-day kind of way, and that's wonderful too. And I'm a lot like you. I'm introverted. My community may not see my face, but I hope that I am adding something somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing I want to focus on personally, and I think that it kind of goes back to the attention thing. I think that the more that we can sever our attention from what the algorithmic overlords want us to do, and put it back into the community and just our fellow person, fellow community, that's going to be very good for society as a whole.
Yes, great way to think about that, and kind of wrap up here. One of my New Year's resolutions was to see more live shows, and I think that's one way to be a member of a community.
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
means I'll see you in Nashville, if not before.
Nice.
At Luna. That's right. Luna's going to be playing with Sister Ray Davies' openers. Go to Luna's website or visit Sister Ray Davies online. They have those dates up. They'll post them again when it's closer to time. Probably share some videos with you if you can't make it to a show. There's always good things to see from Sister Ray Davies, so visit them online. Jamie's one half of Sister Ray Davies, and I appreciate his time a whole lot. Be sure to find him. We'll put some links. If you're on YouTube watching us, we'll put some links down in the show notes. And if you're in a podcast app listening, that's great. We'll put some links in the show notes there too. So thank you, Jamie. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, I loved it. Take care, and we'll see everyone later.